Hey, good morning, teachers. Welcome to Monday. This is the first of a weekly, just the musings of Brother Anderson as he has been thinking about some of the questions and challenges that you've been posing. The question that I've been getting the most lately is about how to get greater participation in class. It seems that teenagers are not very willing to raise their hand voluntarily. And I guess we can kind of understand that, especially early morning. And so I thought what I'd do is just share with you just a really simple trip technique, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, that might be helpful at the beginning of class or even in the middle of your lesson. If you have a really good question that you want them to think about. And we'll talk about maybe how we craft our questions on another video, but one of the things that we learned during the pandemic is, and we had to go to a remote style of learning, and we did a lot of stuff with Canvas with our students, is that if we gave them enough time to ponder on a question and let them kind of craft their answer, write down an answer, we got some very meaningful responses from some pretty surprising sources. The kids that were not the quick to answer kids that just sat there, I was always surprised at what they had to offer when given an opportunity to write. And so the technique is very simple. In each of your lessons, there's a student participation, like little section about student preparedness. And sometimes it's a question. Oftentimes it's an activity or something to think about. But as we try to engage them, we want to start by just giving them opportunities. And most of the times they're not going to raise their hands and participate. They don't want to put themselves in a position to be mocked or ridiculed, or maybe it's something that's personal and they don't want to share it, or they just don't know how to respond. They just start at a loss of words. So technique is this: you have a very simple question. For example, next week's lessons are going to be all about faith as we get to Hebrews chapter 11. And one of the questions that you could ask them is to think about a time in their life, go really, really kind of short period of time, because they may want to go all the way back to beginning of time, but just, hey, in the last 7 days, the last 5 days, whatever, right? You just pick a period of time since the last time we were together, maybe over the weekend. Can you think of a time that you had to have faith in something? And then just leave it at that. Just when did you have to have faith, right? And then let them either use a study journal, their notes app on their phone, or notes in Gospel Library, but just someplace where they can write down. And you give them a time limit. Say, I'm going to give you the next 2 minutes to think about and to write down the answer to this question. I would write the question on the board so they can look up at it and think about it and see it. But give them some time where they can silently write. And then when they're done at the end of the 2 minutes, say something like, that was great. I could see a lot of you are writing some stuff. If it's not too personal, would you share with your neighbor what you wrote down? And usually after they've had something that they've written, now it's easier for them to have a conversation with a neighbor. And this is your opportunity now to kind of wander around the room and just listen to what they're talking about. Maybe if there's a couple of kids that are just, maybe they're not participating, they're just kind of sitting there looking at each other, or they're talking about the wrong things. You can just engage with them and let the kids that are doing the activity, let them continue because they're having experience. But then you have an opportunity to be one-on-one with students. And then at the end of that time, again, before you move forward, let's take this one step further, and one or two from the entire class, if you feel comfortable, could you share either what you wrote down or what you heard somebody else say that you thought was a really good example of what faith is? And then all that does is it's just priming the pump to get them thinking. And then you can start talking about, what are the challenges to faith, and what are some of the reasons people struggle to have faith, and And then we can get in, and then it leads us naturally right into the scriptures where we can start talking about, well, here's what Paul taught us, and how does using past experiences of faith help to motivate future faith. And anyway, it's just a simple way to gain or to invite participation, because not all participation looks the same. Not everybody's going to be raising their hands, but if you give them a chance to write something down, they're more likely to do that, because then it's just them thinking on the question and responding in their own hearts. And that is participation. The Spirit will work on them. They'll have moments. Maybe they won't share it out loud, but they're having a moment within themselves and with the Spirit, and it will help strengthen them. If you have other questions that you would like me to maybe give some counsel, or we can maybe share a technique or a trick, not trick's the wrong word, but a tip, put them in the comment section, and I'll try to respond to them as quick as we can. You guys have a great day. Thank you for your service.